So after about 8 years of advertising on Facebook and millions of dollars of spent, millions of dollars generated, well, at least I hope so anyway, I realized there are 7 main reasons why people's Facebook ads don't convert. And we've had a lot of people either work with us over the last few years or come to us over the last few years and say, hey, look, I want some help with my ads. They're not working. I'll go in, do like an audit of their account. And it's typically one or if not more of these 7 things. So I just want to break it down in this video. So number 1 is the first line doesn't grab attention. I know this might seem a bit obvious to some of you, but when I say the first line, I don't mean the headline of the ad. I mean the first part of the body copy. This is one of the most important part of the ad, right? And if you don't get this right, then they're not going to read the rest of the ad. So you need to make sure that the first line that they read is engaging and it grabs their attention. Now, the way most people do this sucks. So don't be these types of people. Don't overload the first line with like emojis. Too many emojis in ads just, I don't know why, it really gets to me. And it's not great for like grabbing a specific person's attention. It's just like colorful and pretty. Number 2, and please don't do this, don't start your first line off by saying, attention, agency owners under 10K per month, or attention, online coaches struggling to get past 20K, or whatever BS call out your ads course told you to write. Don't write that because it's super salesy. It turns 95% of people off. So yes, it might convert a few people, but it's not going to convert the rest of the market, and it's not going to scale very easily because as soon as someone reads an ad like that, the defense is up because they're like, oh, this person's trying to sell me. So definitely don't do that. What you want to do is you want to use words that your ideal audience will understand and resonate with. So example is we do a lot of work in the spiritual law of attraction space. A lot of our clients are in that niche. And we'll always use language like meditation, abundance, alignment, kind of all these industry buzzwords that for the wrong type of person, they're just not going to be interested in a Facebook post that starts like that. But for the right type of people who are into that stuff, that's going to stop and grab their attention. So we're using phrases, language, and situations that our ideal customer is going to understand and be attracted to. So that's number 1. Number 2 is congruency on your landing page. So one of the biggest problems I see is that people will create these ads and they get loads of clicks. And then they're just like, oh, my funnel just isn't converting. Or if they see an ad gets loads of clicks and no conversions, and they'll be like, oh, it's just like poor traffic quality from Facebook. But when I look at it, the ad is talking about one thing and the landing page is talking about something completely different. So you need to make sure that the promise in your ad or what you talk about in your ad, at the very least, broadly matches the headline and the promise on the landing page. Now, this can get a little bit difficult because let's say if you're testing ads, you want to test different angles and maybe even slightly different types of customers. So then do you create a new landing page for every single ad you create? No, you don't, because that would be way too time intensive. So what we do when we're testing different ads, so let's just say, for example, we're running ads for, I don't know, like a fitness coach. We could have like one angle, which is more like lose weight for summer. Another angle could be more like lose weight so you have more energy. Another angle would be lose weight to, I don't know, improve your dating life or whatever it is, right? There's lots of reasons why someone would want to lose weight. And you might be testing those different angles in your ads, which is good. You should do that. But then what do you put on your landing page, right? Because they're speaking to different pain points. So what we try and do in the beginning is at least broadly match the landing page headline to all of them. So in the beginning, your headline on your landing page probably isn't going to be that specific, and it's going to be a little bit broader so it appeals to all of the different ad angles. And only when you dial in your ad angle and you understand which converts better, then you can change the landing page headline to be a little bit more specific. But there's no point talking about in your ad, hey, lose weight for summer, and then, your landing page is talking about, I don't know, how to get abs and gain muscle or something like that, right? Because there's two different messaging. And if the messaging is off, then it's going to turn a lot of people off and people aren't going to opt into your funnel. So that's number 2. Number 3 is clickbait. So very common piece of advice that is talked about a lot in, just in marketing in general, but with ads specifically, it's the piece of information is like the only purpose of the ad is to get the click. And people really take that too literally. And I personally feel like it's the worst piece of advice. Because if your mindset is, I just need to get the click, then it's kind of like, I'm going to get the click at all costs. And anyone can write an ad that gets a click, but all clicks aren't made equal. The quality of the click isn't equal. So the experience someone has reading your ad has a huge impact on the conversions in the back end. And the best example I can give of this is a few years ago for our agency, we were working with a client and we were just testing different ads and different angles like you should do. And we were testing a lot of meme ads. So just like memes around like our industry and obviously like getting the most, in trend viral memes, but then tailoring it to kind of be relevant to our niche in our industry. And they worked really well in terms of getting the click, right? We got super record low cost per click. The click-through rate was through the roof, amazing. But no one was opting in because the ad didn't give value. It didn't position us correctly. It was just kind of funny and interesting. So we got all of these unqualified clicks. And as soon as they went to our landing page and they realized it was a more serious business offer and they had to opt in with the name and email address, they just clicked off, right? So our conversions on our funnel weren't very high. Whereas the best performing ads for that client specifically, and this is generally across our clients' accounts as well, but not all, but this one specifically, the best ads we had were actually really long form copy. They were images and long form copy or a really long form video. And the reason why is because, yes, our cost per click was higher. Yes, our click-through rate was lower for sure. But the people who were clicking had consumed at least a majority of, or if not a good percentage of our ad. And that ad gave value, connected to their pain points, positioned us correctly, gave credibility, social proof, etc., etc. So by the time they clicked, they were super qualified and they would click. And of course, they're going to opt in with their name and email address because if they've just spent a minute reading our ad, then and they click after that, then a name and email address isn't going to stop them from continuing further. Whereas if someone's seen a meme ad, they've read a funny headline and they've taken 2 seconds to click through, then they're less committed and less likely to convert. So I'm all up for creating viral type ads, using real type of ads, but you can't just expect to get super clickbaity ads and then that's going to solve all your problems because the quality of those people is going to be a lot less. So unless you have a very well thought out and strategic funnel, it's not going to work. And we've just found that a lot of the time in some niches, it drives poor quality traffic. The next one, number 4, and this is a big one that I see a lot of people, because again, I think there's a big misconception, I think, on what an opt-in page, what the goal of an opt-in page is. So people run webinars, VSL funnels, and they'll send Facebook ads, YouTube ads to an opt-in page, and it'll ask for the name and email address, right, to get them to opt in. People feel like the more information they put on that opt-in page, the better. Because they're good copy. Let's put some social proof. Let's put an about me section. Tell a bit more about my story. Let's do some bullet points and do some give them some teasers of what they're going to learn. And some of that, if it's done extremely well, can work. But most of the time, it's a killer to your opt-in page conversion rates. Because the goal of the opt-in page, it is not to sell, it is not to build trust, it is not to build connection, it is not to tell a story, it's not to give your story and position you as the expert. That is not what the opt-in page does. The only goal of an opt-in page is to pique enough curiosity in the prospect that they have to give their name and email address to find out what's on the other side. That's the only goal. The only goal is to create that curiosity. But what a lot of people do, they put too much information on there, and a few things happen. Number one, it's just too long. And if someone sees an ad that is of interest of them, and maybe they're on public transport, maybe they're at work, I don't know, maybe they're busy, they're doing something, and they're kind of like half concentrating on the phone, they click that, and it's asking for a name and email address, right? So they're instantly thinking in their mind, they have to make up a decision in their mind right now. Is this worth giving my name and email address for? Because, people have bad experiences with giving their name and email address. Is it a scam? What are they going to do with my data? Are they going to spam me? There's lots of negatives. And the positives of giving their name and email address is what they're going to learn on the other side. But if there's a load of information, they don't feel qualified enough to make that decision unless they've read all the information. Because if they've clicked an ad and there's a load of information on the page and they're asking for the name and email address, they feel in their mind, I have to read all this info in order to decide if what's on the other side is worth potentially experiencing all those negatives, which is, the risk of them putting in the name and email address. So the majority of the time, when you've got headline, a video, loads of bullet points, your story, social proof, it's too much information for them. And they're going to opt out because, like I said, they're busy. They might be at work, on public transport. They might be walking. They might be like half in a conversation. And in their mind, they might say, later on, I'm going to go back, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to opt in. But of course, they never do. And you've just lost the customer. So the goal isn't to sell or to sell them on your process. It is purely just to pique enough curiosity. And you can usually do that just with a really good headline, right? A really good headline that will pique enough curiosity, and then it'll get them to opt in. Because another thing that happens as well, if you give too much information on your opt-in page, then let's just say, for example, I'm teaching people how to make money with Amazon, for example, Amazon FBA. And if I give them too much information on the landing page of what they're going to learn, then there's a couple of things that's also going to happen. Number one, they will figure out that it's Amazon that I'm talking about, right? And they will think, I'm just going to Google how to make money with Amazon FBA. I don't actually need to give my name and email address because this guy's talking about Amazon FBA and he's talked about how it's changed his life and all of these benefits. Well, guess what? I'm just going to go and Google those benefits or YouTube those benefits. I'm going to figure it out for myself. I don't need to give my name and email address, and you've just lost a customer. Or, secondly, they might be someone who's already experienced or heard of Amazon FBA before, and they'll read your full-on landing page or your opt-in page, and they'll be like, this guy's talking about Amazon FBA. I've already heard about it before. I don't need to opt in. And again, you've just lost a customer. Whereas if they actually opted in and went through, your webinar, your VSL, your funnel, whatever it is, they could be converted into a customer. But they took themselves out of the game because you gave them too much information before you collected their contact details. So with the opt-in page, you want to make it as mysterious, it's probably not the right word, as curiosity-provoking as possible, where it appeals to their desires and their pain points, but they're not really sure what you're talking about. And because it connects to their desires and their pain points, they need to opt in with their name and email address to get to the other side. The curiosity is too much. But people give too much information and it allows prospects to take themselves out of the game. The next one, number 5. Your ads look like ads. So this is probably the worst advertising sin of all. And it's you're creating ads that sound too much like ads. As soon as, and I touched about it before, as soon as you start an ad off with attention, X, Y, and Z, or are you looking for, 5 new high-ticket clients per week, or are you struggling to get appointments for your marketing agency? all of those really direct salesy openers, as soon as you open with an ad like that, like I said, people's defense is up and they're instantly, again, going to take themselves out of the game and not listen to you. Even if what you have is really good, even if it's unique, even if it's different, if you start your ad off sounding like an ad, then the reality is most people aren't going to watch it, because the way the market is right now, so many people have been burned before by different products, programs. They've bought stuff from, a YouTube ad or a Facebook ad before, and it hasn't delivered what they expected. So as soon as they realize that you're trying to sell to them, then they're just going to ignore the ad, and you're not going to convert as many people as possible. Like I said, you might convert a small percentage of people who are they're just in so much pain right now with that particular problem that they're really just desperate for a solution. So if you come into the newsfeed and you're like, are you struggling to grow your agency? Then yes, you're going to get a few desperate agency owners. They're going to opt into that and they're going to react to the ad and maybe convert. But for the majority of people, they're just like, I've heard of this person, or heard this a million times before. This isn't good. Same with, the 100 million offers and the guarantees. I actually feel like the market is using less of that stuff. But a few years ago, it was so bad. Just everyone had read Hormozi's book, and every single ad was just about guarantees and money back and all that BS. I'm glad that's calming down a little bit. But again, you run ads like that, people aren't going to listen to it. People are used to buying on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, YouTube a little bit, and obviously with TikTok Shop and stuff. But if you really want to appeal to the mass market, you need to make ads that don't look like ads. And that's why TikTok Shop is working so well, is because a lot of people are using affiliates who are content creators, and those content creators are used to creating content for the platform. So when they create an ad for a product, it actually looks very native to the platform. And that's why if you want to scale long-term on platforms like Facebook and YouTube, you need to start off with stories grabbing attention. You can't just start off with $100 million offer and a money-back guarantee and expect that that's just going to scale to the moon. So don't write ads that look like ads. And this follows on a little bit as well. There's no differentiation between people. So this is what most people do, is they've been told, with the whole ClickFunnels thing, funnel hack, just go and model what works, etc., etc. And what they'll end up doing is they'll go to the Facebook ads library, they'll search for the competitors, and they'll just start modeling their ads. And this fails for a few different reasons. Number one, you have no friggin' idea if that specific ad that you're modeling is making them money. You really don't. Yes, I know on Ads Library, you can look at how long it's been running ads for. And, you could say if it's been running ads for 2-3 months and it's still active, then yes, it's probably making them money. But number one, that's not 100% accurate. I've seen people that have turned their ads off, but their ads are still showing in the ads library as active. So it's not 100% reliable. So people are out there, they're copying ads that might even be losing that company money. At the end of the day, 99% of advertisers suck. Most ads don't work. So if your ad strategy is just going to the ads library and copying an ad that's in there, then it's very likely that that ad doesn't work. Now, the objection to that is, Sam, yeah, but if I copy a big brand that I know is successful and they're doing loads of money, then if I just copy their ads, then I know it's making them money. And that's true. But again, the problem with that is that those big brands and that big company, they're playing a completely different game to you. They're not playing your game. If you're a beginner, if you're under, 10K per month, or if you're under 100K per month, and you're modeling a brand that's doing $1 million a month, they're not playing your game. So I guarantee if you model their ads, then it's not going to work. I'll give you an example of this, right? So a few years ago, when I was working a full-time job, I was a marketer. We were running a personal development event. So I was building the funnel and I was starting to run the ads for this event. And I'm like, well, who's the best person that I can model in the event space? Well, it's Tony Robbins, right? So I go to Tony Robbins' Facebook page, I go to his ads library, I look at all of his ads, and I'm like, great, Tony Robbins makes loads of money with his events. He's the event master. I'm going to model all of his ads. What did I do? Modeled his ads. We launched them. We sell no fucking tickets whatsoever. And I'm like, oh, why didn't it work? It's because Tony Robbins isn't playing the same game as us. His ads work not because it's great. It's not because it's great advertising, not because it's great copy, not because he has a great angle, not because he has a great offer. Tony Robbins' ads work because it's fucking Tony Robbins. He doesn't actually need to be that good. So if you go and model someone who is like 100 steps ahead of you, and you could model the exact ads, their exact funnel, the pricing, the offer, you can model all of it. But it's the intangibles that make those big companies' advertising work. And you can't model that. You can't model his name. You can't model his reputation. You can't model his results. So it's useless you looking at a bigger company than you and being like, oh yeah, like I can just model their ads and it's definitely going to work. So if you are going to model someone, then at least model someone who is similar to you, but that is similar to you, so they're playing the same game. But again, it's harder to know actually, who's actually making money other than the really big people that who have been around for 5-10 years plus, and you just know that they are actually making money. So that's number one. Number two, as well, like advertising, modeling other people's ads and being the same as anyone else is what we call like advertising suicide. You can't, if you're starting out and you don't have the biggest brand name or the best credibility in the space, then what are you doing just modeling someone else? Because then it's going to get no differentiation. Your customers are seeing the same type of ads over and over again in the newsfeed. So if you don't come up with like a unique angle or something different, then no one's going to buy from you because there's no reason why. So instead of like modeling other people or just seeing, oh, that ad must be working, so I'm going to model that, you need to strategically map out like what is your differentiator. In marketing, you would call it like, what is your unique mechanism? And instead of just like modeling ads on the newsfeed, if you just focus on creating unique and fresh ads around a unique mechanism, then that is going to be your best chance of succeeding with paid advertising, because that is going to separate you from everyone else. And I don't know if like you've ever had this, but when you're scrolling your feed, it's just the same bullshit over and over again. And when you do finally see a new ad that grabs your attention, that has a different angle, that offers something different, that speaks in a different way, it's refreshing and it's engaging. And it's like, oh shit, that's caught my attention. And that's what you need to try and do with your advertising. And the final one is, people don't understand how the Facebook ad auction or the Facebook ad algorithm works. Now, it's not like it was a few years ago where, to get success with Facebook ads, it was all about like being really granular inside the ads manager, creating like 1 million different audiences. We used to load up like literally 20 to 50 different lookalike audiences and different interest targeting and stuff like that. And trying to like, we were doing like, even in the beginning in like 2016 when we were running ads, we were doing like one country, age range from like 25 to 34, one specific gender, and then we were having like one specific interest. We were doing like Facebook feed only, and then we were testing like Wi-Fi only. And we were just like doing really granular, trying to basically do all this shit inside of the ads manager to get really specific on who we're targeting. And it worked back then, but it's not like that now. That being said, you still need to understand how the Facebook machine works, because understanding how the algorithm works and how Facebook responds to different budgets, how Facebook responds to different targeting, how Facebook responds to like different structures and how it distributes the budget in, if you're doing CBO or ABO, all of that stuff does matter. It's not the biggest needle mover. Like if you know all of that stuff, if you know number 7 on this list, but you don't know 1 to 6, then it's not going to work. But it helps to know number 7 Because I've had some people that have had like good ads, but the campaign structure is just a complete mess, or the targeting's off, or like the way they've set up the campaign isn't correct, or they're doing like really restrictive budgets, or on the flip side, they won't have any ads that are tested or anything like that. And they've heard someone on fucking YouTube say, oh, just start, do like a CBO campaign, broad interest targeting, and just put it at like, $200 a day or $500 a day and just let it run. You need to, give it time to, like, there's a lot of such BS information on YouTube. You got people who, they start up a brand new ad account, brand new business, that they start up with a new pixel. The pixel has zero data. The ad account has zero data to work with. And people are doing like huge, high budget CBO campaigns with untested ads with absolutely no data in it, no targeting or anything. And they're being told to wait like 5 to 6 days to let the ads test. And people fucking do that, and it just loses them money all the time. Again, there's a time and place for that type of campaign structure, but it's not at the start if you're like a brand new beginner. So understanding how the ads manager works, how Facebook reacts to different audiences, different budgets, different campaign structures, that stuff is important if you want to make sure that you're successful with paid advertising. And that's it. The 7 biggest things that I see, fix those, and you will be sweet with your campaigns. I never really know how to end these videos. I always feel a little bit awkward, even though I've posted like hundreds of them. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.